One of the biggest things that I've been working on as of late is a strategy to help athletes recover from injury. Well, I really can't say recover from injury because technically speaking, I'm not a doctor. So, an attorney told me, he was like, you can't say recover from injury. So, one of the things I say is I help athletes recover their flexibility because one of the biggest things is like when the athlete gets hurt, you know, how their muscle spasms up, you
Mm-hmm.
know, they're limping around, stuff like that. When that happens, they obviously, you know, it swells up, you know, it's weak, they lose range of motion. So one of the things I say I do and I actually do is I focus on increasing that range of motion, increasing that flexibility, and decreasing that swelling.
Right.
So we get a lot of athletes who um, like a pool growing, low back pains, soft tissue injuries. We can actually fix these injuries for the most part in like 60 minutes or less. There's actually been opportunities where I had to not necessarily opportunities, but chances where I had to showcase. Had like maybe like 10 minutes to work on a kid who had a high ankle sprain before a game. So that's one of the biggest things I was able to do. Like in a high ankle sprain,
Right.
help fix it, get them moving, have no pain, and go back out there and play.
Nice.
But so primarily, I have a team of is me and a couple other trainers, and we train athletes. We train athletes of all sports. Now, a lot of times people think that you know when we say we train athletes, because I'm in Pittsburgh, PA, you know, Western PA, you know, football is king. Um,
Yeah.
so everyone would be like, "Oh, do you train any outside of football players?" I'm like, "Yes, we do. We do it really well." You know, we got volleyball players, we got basketball, lacrosse. You know, really any sport that you know athlete wants to get better, faster, quicker, more explosive. We start off with assessment. That's one of the main things that we offer is a free assessment. So basically, when a parent comes to us, they say, "Hey, I want my kid to get you know faster, quicker, more explosive, whatever it may be." One of the things we want to do, we want to assess them to figure out what muscles in their body are too weak, short,
Mm-hmm.
overactive, anything along those lines. So that way, it takes all the guesswork out. Because generally speaking, like if and I've seen this before, and sometimes people you know will tell me that their experiences you know working out. And this is just across the board. Like someone want to come in and get like faster, quicker, and the very first session, the trainer got lifting weights or doing speed exercises. But if you don't really know what the root cause of the problem is, how can you ever really fix it? It's just like if you're sick and you go to the doctor's office and you know the doctor is saying you come in and you about to tell them your symptoms and the doctor just says here take this medication. You're like what's this for? Like it's for diabetes. Like it's not going to help you because like it's not getting to the root cause of the problem.
Right.
They didn't take into account for what you know problems that you may have had. So same thing with training. Like if they just get you in there first day, you just start training, but you don't know what you're working on. That's how we're able to get athletes like a lot quicker results. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen parents say you know they can see a difference, you know, in 2 or 3 sessions. So we're you know we're getting athletes moving. We're helping them recover from injuries. You know, regaining their flexibility, I should say. Doing team training. That's another area that we offer team training. Actually, I really love team training because um, once you get to see like your whole teammates and then you really get to I like watching it because you get to see like the kids who actually come and put in work. The one thing about my training, the kids who put in work, they're going to slowly increase. Because sometimes you have talented kids. It's like the Nike commercial where they say talented but
Right.
lazy, and you see that often. That's not like abnormal.
Right.
So you'll see someone who's talented but lazy, but then you get someone who just comes in and just goes to work, just work every day. They'll get more and more athletic, and you'll see them start to like come, in some cases, even surpass that talented
That,
kid over time, and given the work ethic and you know where they're at. So that's one of the things about team training I really love to see, and they're really competing against each other. So by the time they go out and compete against another team, like they're so used to competing at a high level because everyone's pretty fast.
mm-hmm.
When they go against someone else, they're not as fast. So they really get to showcase their athleticism.
So, a question that I have for you, and this is coming from a guy that had kids in sports young. I coached little league. I officiated like powder puff or pee wee football all the way up. And you said that like you see the parents say, "Well, I see my kid getting quicker." ever since that they're little, you got parents out there that think like they're playing in the little league, that they're going to get a deal from like Clemson and go to the World Series that next year. So parents can sometimes be biased. So when you do that, like, do you have do you kind of set a, like almost kind of like a set of standards when you see somebody like we want to see you do A, B, and C, and then you actually are training them, and you can see this progression. Because, like I said, parents, and I know I'm guilty of this too. When my daughter was playing basketball, you always every parent sees the absolute best in their kid and never sees any flaws.
Yeah.
So, do you guys kind of hold that? Like, do you and your other trainers sit back and say, okay, hey, we got Brenda over here, and we know that we need her to work on this modality, this modality, this modality, and then we can see that she's making progress. And so you know that the person is actually progressing the way that you guys kind of envision it happen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so when we're able to put that program, one of the things we're able to do is when we talk to the parents, we can create like a clear set of standards. Because like I said, from the assessment, we tell them, like I said, what muscles in their body are weak or overactive, and we actually show them so that they can see these are the compensations. Then we start going over the exercises they need to start incorporating. Because it's like, all right, these are your problems. I'm just making something up.
Right.
Let's say you got tight growing muscles, adductors. You got weak glutes. You got a weak obliques. I'm like, if you fix these 3 areas, then you'll be able to get to wherever you get to. Because their goal may be just to start. Their goal may be to, come first place in wrestling.
Right.
Hit still so many bases, whatever it may be. But it's like, you can't get to that goal right now because you're limited in your athleticism. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on these areas and improve them. And really, we give them like homework to do on their own. So, and that's one thing I love about it, because you can tell who's doing what,
Right.
because they'll start improving that much different. So I can literally tell them, say, hey, we're going through the stretches. All right, do the second stretch, do the third stretch, whatever it may be. And I'm like, I don't know, or they're not really sure. And those will be the same athletes that won't get the results as soon. And I reiterate to them, like, you're not going to get to where you want to get to until you start focus on these areas. But the great thing about our classes and our training is I can point someone out. I can say, this person started this recently happened. Like someone had just started a class, and I let them know, like, the other person, she has set a record. I'm like, because she has great flexibility. Like she was she runs track for Upper St. Clair. Now, indoor track, they don't really get a chance to practice their jumps, like the long jumps and high jumps, because they don't have those indoor pads. But she's able to still set a record, her indoor record, her very first indoor track meet of the year, even without practice, because she has a good flexibility. Nice. And then once she incorporate that strength training and the other areas that we needed from the assessment, we able to just elevate, because they came in with a goal where they want to get to. And I'm like, as long as they fix these areas, there should be no problem. Because most parents, like you said, sometimes it's unrealistic in like their efforts, what they want.
Right.
Like they may not come in and be like, hey, I want Alabama to come in for us. Like that takes a lot, But usually they're more realistic. Like, I want them to get a scholarship. I want them to start. I want them, not to run funny, wherever it may be.
Right.
And with those assessments and the exercises, as long as they're doing it, and we point it out to the parent. A lot of times I will tell the parent too. They be like, can we stay? I'm like, yeah, stay. I want you to stay so you can see what we're telling them, and how if they fix that, it'll make them better. And the parent usually gets it too as well. In some cases, the parent will be like, that's the same thing I told them. Like, they don't listen. Like, I told them to do that. As soon as you tell them, they do it. Right. And sometimes they need a
sometimes that's all it takes. Like I said, and even like I said, playing and coaching and everything else. Like I said, I've coached kids where, I know that their parents were just stud athletes in track or something. And you were like, hey, you got to do A, B, and C. And, okay. And same thing, a parent will be like, I've been telling them that. Why are they listening to you? Sometimes it's just the title of me not being a parent. Because sometimes as soon as your parent says something, you're like, yeah, whatever.
You shut
exactly.
off. Yeah.
Now, what's the, do you have an age limit? Like, what's the youngest that you start with these kids?
So generally I say we start like at 8 and up.
Okay.
But there's been cases where we have 6-year-olds. So I'll host like a free corrective exercise speed camp. Well, basically it's a speed camp that teaches athletes how to, not only how to get faster, but it corrects like their running form mechanics, or even if they're injured. Like a lot of times people will come in and say, "Hey, I rolled my ankle or my knee. I can't practice. I can't do speed training because I have that going on." We created a way to incorporate that speed training with the speed camp. I mean the corrective exercise with the speed camp and kind of put it all together. And we've seen like uh, a great a great success with that as well.
That's awesome.
What would you tell, kids or parents or any athlete whatsoever, like, hey, I suggest this for preventative measures of getting injured, because to even prevent these things from happening, what should they be doing in their regimen, maybe whether eating or stretching or whatever it may be.
I would say the two biggest things is sleep and eating. And I tell people all the time because kids nowadays there's so much distraction when they could be going to sleep and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So they're not getting good sleep, not getting quality sleep, and sleep's when your brain really your body recovers, and that's how you actually even learn how to do new movements. So I tell kids when you first start trying to ride a bike, you don't get it that very first time. Like you may get on, you ride a little bit, you fall off, you ride, but every day you get better and better and better because your brain will is downloading those new movement patterns. It's refine those every day when you sleep. So the longer sleep you get, the more redefined movement pattern you get. It just gets more embedded in there. So making sure kids sleep, that's like a huge one for me. Another big one is flexibility because here's the thing: 50% of all injuries are preventable, and a lot of injuries that kids get will be from their training program, but they don't know it. No, and you can see this in a lot of cases. If you see let's say in a school program, like 3 people got shoulder problems, 4 people got growing problems, 3 people blew out their knee and their ACL in the last couple of years. When I say that, I mean like a non-contact type, like
Right.
if they're running or cutting and their knee gives out. That's more of a structural issue. So flexibility is a huge part because a lot of times kids lack that flexibility, and when you lack the flexibility, you're more likely to get hurt. But also too, if you want to get faster, like literally, I tell kids all the time, stride distance times stride frequency equals speed. So you got to be able to gain ground with each step, and also you got to have fast turnover. In order to do that, you need that flexibility. So I would say, getting rest, getting sleep, a good night's sleep every night, um, is key. And then also too the flexibility. Those are the biggest things. Like I can do a stretch where I can, excuse me, where I can see where like a lot of quad and hip flexor stretches. Um, I can tell like basically how athletic a kid is, like just from the scene, or I can say how much more they can be because sometimes kids are athletic, but their body just compensates. And I tell people all the time, athletes are like the ultimate compensators because if you're playing and you roll your ankle, you're like hobbling along, like a kid wants to get back in there, so they're
Right.
not going to sit out real long. They're going to be like, I'm good enough, now I can get back in there. So they're going to go back in there, but they may still be in pain. They're still like compensating, but they're still going to find a way to play and do well, almost so well that you may not even be able to tell they're hurt, but
Right.
they're really banged up. And then that's when sometimes injuries come out of nowhere. People say, but that's not really that came out of nowhere. It's they're always been at risk. You just didn't know.
Right.
And yeah. So those are the two biggest ones: getting rest, and that flexibility.
Yeah, that sleep thing is no joke. Being that I was in military and training and stuff, they would purposely deprive us of sleep
Mm.
and make you function.
Hmm.
And it's one of the hardest things, and because they'll give you like simple stuff, but you've
Hmm.
been awake for so long and going, it's just it's a struggle. But and I noticed it too, and I know this is not something I'm proud of, but like same thing. I was having a lot of trouble. I wasn't getting rested. I was and found
Hmm.
out I had sleep apnea. I got one of those beautiful machines by the bed now. But now that I have that and I'm getting solid sleep, it's
Night and
like I
day.
feel so much better. Like I feel so much better during the day, and everything that I'm doing is just like it makes a difference. And I like you said, kids nowadays are so distracted because they got their phone or they got the
Yeah.
video games, and everything else is just instantaneous right in front of their face. To
Hmm.
say, hey, take a break, go lay
Yeah.
down, is just it's kids haven't. There's a lot of kids that haven't even grown up that way. You know, like when they come out, sometimes the babysitter is, here's my iPad, here's my
Yeah,
phone,
keep
here's
busy.
this. It just, and they're not used to that, and I'm glad that you brought that up because rest is a huge thing.
And you
and
said
it
something
just
really
gives forgiveness.
you said something really important where sleep is when your brain sleeps. If you're playing Fortnite, turn your TV off and hit the bed, your brain's not going to sleep for a couple hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's like the same thing after we do a show. Like we play a show.
Oh, yeah.
You can load out, come home, and go to bed, and you're still running the show in your head, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe I should have done this, or this was funny, or this, and it's like you like you said, you can't flip off your brain. I wish I could, but my wife thinks that I do sometimes, but that's a different podcast.
What would you say the most common injury you see coming in is that could be prevented?
Rolled ankles.
Rolled
I
ankles.
say rolled ankles because like everything starts from the ground up. Like
Yeah.
literally, like as you walk, if you first hit the ground, like your heel hits the ground, it initiates that step. So rolled ankle is a normal one. But the thing about it is a rolled ankle. Once you roll the ankle, then you start getting other compensation, other possibilities. Because a lot of people don't realize. So like every time you roll your ankle, you get decreased glute activation in your hip. So your hip gets weak. So not only do you want to focus on fixing your ankle, but you want to fix that glute as well and work on it in pair. And that's one of the biggest things that, like even like with physical therapy, I can't say they don't, but some of the people who have went there have let me know like when they had an injury, they focus on that one side. But here's the problem: if you have an injury and you're getting rehab and you're doing it to one side, you got to realize you put more weight on the opposite one. You hurt this leg, so you're going to walk and more on this one. So then now this one's compensating. So you have two issues right now, and you're only focusing on one. So this gets fixed, then this one has a problem.
Right.
So I would say roll ankles, and that's just something that kids get easily from youth all the way on up. But I would say the roll ankles, but that's one of the biggest things. You can focus on their flexibility, their calf muscles, and the side of their calf muscles, and that could help alleviate a lot of that.
How often do you come across guys or athletes, not just guys, that are, not coachable? I mean, I know that it could be rare because most of the time if people are coming to you, they want to be there or they're maybe pushed there by their parents, but they're looking for you for your services.
Yeah.
How often do you come across people that just you can't get right with them?
It's funny you say that. So, two different scenarios. So, one scenario is if they come to me. Usually, I would say most of the time I don't say they're not coachable because I try to explain everything in a number of different ways, and I tell them, give me feedback. Let me know if something don't make sense. If I said something if I said we're doing this day, and then you think I contradict myself, or I say something wrong, or you don't understand, let me know so that way we can kind of figure it out and get you on the right path. Because I want to make sure that they understand. I put it like this. I put it on myself. There's no reason they shouldn't be able to understand what I'm telling them and how to get better. So if they really want to get better, I'm gonna communicate with them. I'm gonna find a way to connect with them, and then at that point, it's up to them to kind of put it all to place. But so I would say most of the time I don't really get anyone that's not coachable. I may have to reinforce that and give them different examples a couple of different times, a little bit longer. But most of the time, I would say we're pretty lucky in the sense that most of the kids will make the change when it comes to us.
Right.
Now, let's say if we're doing team training, different story.
Right.
With team training, you got some people on the team, they got big plans, they want to go places. Some people on the team, they're just there. Some people on the team, it's just different. You get a lot of different personalities. So in that situation, I may not get some. I don't want to say it's not coachable, but it could be coachable. It's gonna be lazy too.
Right.
Like in a sense, like I wanna get better, but I don't necessarily want to do all this. And I'm like, this is why you need to do all that. But I just make them to a degree. Always let them know it's voluntary. So like
how frustrating is that when you see somebody that has that talent and just doesn't want to put the work in? I mean, on your end, it's got to be like it's got to sometimes just be like you just want to grab them and be like, kid, like just put in the extra work and you'll get to that next level real quick. And it's just like you said, it's just if it's not instantaneous, because like we talked about the phones and everything, because it's instant gratification anymore, or like you said, just that one is like, I don't need to do this, and you're like, I just want to just grab you and say, come on, Get your head out of your ass.
Right. I would say earlier in my career, it was definitely frustrating, leaving a little bit more frustrated. But as the more I've done this, like I just realized there's always going to be that group of people, and what happens is, like I said before, I'll just spend more time and energy with someone who wants to get better. And what will happen is usually if they're doing like a team training, they'll start seeing that other person get better and better and better. And then that almost makes them want to start listening and start paying attention.
Right.
Because it's like the competitive nature kicks in. You see everyone start getting a little bit better and better, and you're struggling. It's like, now I got to put the work in. So I've seen people change like that in that sense too as well. So I don't necessarily get frustrated anymore by that. I just let them just see see what happens. But them seeing their teammates improve is like a really big help for that.
Thanks.
I saw during the Steelers season, T.J. Watt had went down with a groin injury, and I saw you posting and imploring for the Steelers to give you a call. Hey, we do those. Is that like a goal for you to have? Maybe even being on the sidelines of a professional team or having professional guys come in your facility?
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily a goal, but I guess you can say it to a degree because, I mean, I want to challenge myself to see. Because also, too, here's the thing. Like I said before, like we work with soft tissue injuries, but we can't fix everything. Like
Right.
you get a dislocated finger, you bring it to me, I'm like, ugh. I am not helping with that. But like when cause, like the trainer, they have the best of the best stuff, especially on the highest level.
Mm-hmm.
So when I could help someone, an athlete, recover quickly like this, I always wonder what they got going on. They may have something more serious that's out of my scope that's going on. I don't know.
Right.
But in the same token, I want to take a crack at it. I want to see if I can help it because this is part of the myoflex that I developed. Like I went to 2 different college universities. I said earlier, I went to Townsend University, spoke with the director of sports medicine. He never seen or heard what I done. Like he's seen and heard the things that I had done, but not the way I come up with a creative solution as to how to put certain strategies together. And with the strategy I created, he never seen, but he confirmed that it worked. I went to California University of Pennsylvania. I went up there and spoke with the director of sports medicine. And there was a kid who had a high ankle sprain, and I had like 10 minutes and worked on it real quick. And the sports medicine director was so surprised. He actually wrote me a testimonial because he's surprised that I was able to help increase the range of motion and the flexibility and the strength. And when that kid, and I don't think he had any more pain as well within just 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So when I do something like that, and I seen like the professionals see that like, oh, this is great, and then they can actually confirm that it works. Because usually when you're trying to introduce something new, that's why I try to work with athletic trainers. Like I'm here to work with you, not necessarily against you, because there's a lot of stuff that I can't do, like the Damar Hamlin thing, like if someone goes down, that's out of my scope. Like they have a heart issue, something like that. Like I do like the soft tissue, so one little small portion. But I'm like, if I can help out in that area, let's work together. I can help out in that area. You can focus on other things. So, getting back to the Steelers, I mean, or the professional athletes, I definitely would like to track because like when I do that, when I see what I've done, I'm like, I wonder if I can do it on these guys too. But I'm pretty sure. But given the opportunity, it'll come around. I'm pretty sure it'll come around.
It'd be great if you could tie in with one of those colleges in their sports medicine program and get almost like somebody that can come and train with you guys to pass on that knowledge. Like you said, you've been to sports medicine clinics and the head of the department's like, oh, wow. So like if you can get those trainers to come down and intern with you or do something so they can take that and go with it. I think that would be huge if you could. That'd be awesome for you if you could get tied into a couple colleges and like that's one of their interns.
Actually, yeah, I never even thought of it like that. But and I've had a couple of interns, just in the summertime and stuff like that. But I never had any athletic trainers that can come down during the internship, and that would actually be a pretty good. I'm going to take that idea.
Absolutely.
It's all starting here.
Yeah, that's it. Just run with it. But like I said, I mean, to me, that's one of the best things that you can do with just like society. Pay it forward. Like have somebody come in and say, hey, this is what I've learned. This works. And then say that athletic trainer goes to, I don't know, small town USA And guess what? Now they're like the best trainer that's around there because they're doing these techniques that they've learned from you and whatever college. But
Yeah.
that'd be great if you get tied into a or a couple of colleges, and but just not that team from up north. You can do any college on the planet, but it better not have maize and blue. And I got your back. Yeah, I know. It's other than that, just no. So, Antonio, how'd you get started in this? What's your background? Where'd you come from? What sports you play? What'd you do growing up? And how did you get from when you were a kid to where you are now?
Yeah, so as far as like a background bio, so I got my undergrad degree in management information systems, so like dealing with computers and programming, and then I'm getting my master's degree in exercise science and health promotion with a concentration in performance enhancement and injury prevention. So pretty much the longest college major title ever. It's like huge. So I grew up in Pittsburgh. I started playing baseball, football, and track. And actually, where I got the name of my business from, Next Level, was from my baseball team. So our baseball team, like, we were one of the best baseball teams in the city of Pittsburgh. We played all games on the road, which is crazy now I think about it. Because like we were kids, we just thought I didn't even realize we didn't have a home field. We had a practice field, but I didn't realize we didn't have a home field. I was like, where's the game at today? We was going to go play. We was going to go play. So we play every game on the road. We won 2 out of 3 championships. The Duchess of York, Fergie, she actually came in from England to come see us play. They wrote a book about our baseball team as well.
Nice.
We got to still get to play down on their old Three River Stadium,
Oh, yeah.
PNC to Three Rivers now. Yeah, and actually, I got MVP that game, that championship. That was a great game. That's a crazy game because somebody hit a ball out to center field. Like, he crushed it, and they threw like the center fielder to the shortstop to me, and we got him out at the end, like game time. Well, it would have been game winning, but we ended up stopping that.
So you were a catcher.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely catcher. Yeah.
Yep, I was a squatter myself.
Yeah, and so I played baseball and football and track all the way up through high school. Little league football played for Wilkinsburg, and then high school played for Penn Hills.
Okay.
We had a pretty good season, and then college I played for Shippensburg University. That's all conference there, and I was a cornerback. Actually, I should have been a safety, but ended up going to cornerback. It was because one year we ran out of cornerbacks. And they was like, can you move from safety to cornerback? I'm like, all right. I didn't really want to do it, but it's during spring. I just figured it'd be like one spring semester that I'd be back at safety. And then it's like, basically, well, we couldn't get, they got people in, but they wasn't good enough to take my position, basically. So I stayed there, and the guy that was a safety, he's pretty good too. So they're like, well, you're doing fine there, you're doing fine there. And we actually had a pretty good defense. Like, we had, I think, 9 out of 11 starters on defense. Went all conference. We went the PSAC championship my senior year. We got first round bye, playoff game, so it went pretty well. And actually, on our team, we had, I think, out of a Division II school, which is crazy, I think we had 4 people go to NFL. We had Brent Grimes, who's all pro, as a cornerback. He's really amazing. We had Ryan Hoffman, Joel Gamble. Oh, and John Kuhn. Yeah, John Kuhn, another long career. So we had like 4 people on our team. Like I said, we had a pretty good team. So after that, back in my day, that's so old saying that. Back in my day. So back then, when we worked out, like if you were an athlete, like people say you couldn't teach speed. So if you're as fast, you're just fast. I always wanted to work out hard and be the best I can be.
Right.
So I just worked out hard. But I found out that I was working hard in the wrong direction. So after I got done playing college football, I ended up playing arena football. And when I was playing arena football, funny story, I got called in. So how I ended up playing arena football, because I got a phone call during graduation. And I was literally out there about to graduate. I got a phone call. It's like, hey, this is Wayne Wall from the Johnstown Riverhawks. You want to play arena football? I'm like so excited. I'm so excited, but I don't want to tell them I gotta go. But I'm at the graduation. I don't be sitting there talking on the phone.
Right.
But I'm like, yeah, I'll call you back. I'm like about to graduate. So I end up playing there. And then part of that journey of me playing arena football, I ran into Bill Parise. He's James Harrison's agent. And I was talking with him, and he actually does sports. He's an agent. He's a CEO of the YMCA. He's like a track coach as well, and a sports trainer. And and I went to go see him, and he's working me out, and he was like, if you'd had half decent training, you probably could have made it to the NFL. I mean, not to say that my goal was to make it NFL. I think as a lot of kids growing up,
Right.
but I didn't get to that point. I got to play arena football for some years. But once he told me that, it just made me realize like I was working really, really hard in the wrong direction. And I start thinking like how many other people are basically working really hard but in the wrong direction, and that's not a good thing. So and once I started like learning like oh, you can really learn about like exercise and sports training, that made me go back to school for my master's, which is crazy to me because I never thought once I got my undergrad I thought I was just done. Like,
Right.
I'm done. And then my master's and I ended up getting a 3.9 magna cum laude, which is surprising for me. And the reason why I say it because I was always like a BC student, and then at the highest level, I get like all A's.
Right.
And I just found my passion. I really love to do because like that's the other thing too. Like I see a lot in my athletes. I see a lot of myself in them because I'm like they just want to get better. They were looking for a place to find answers, and I'm like these are the if you do this based upon here, you will be a better athlete. Even like today, I can say that because I know I feel the difference for me doing what I'm doing, and I know they get the same thing. So, so once I realized you can learn about that, that's why I started my business, the Next Level Athletic Fitness, and was doing that, and I was actually playing arena football, and I was getting my master's at the same time. So I was applying a lot of stuff while I was learning. It's like I remember one off season when I was training. I'm a D-back, I was a cornerback and safety. So I was literally like I was practicing. Then we started practice for like the arena team. Like I wasn't really practicing against nobody because it was always hard to find people to work out with and train and stuff like that. So by the time I was training myself, when I was and get my master's, when I got back to the field, I was actually way faster than I expected. So I was breaking faster, like on pass plays and stuff like that. I had to kind of readjust my game, which is the part that I always, I don't say forget about, but I always make sure it's an emphasis to tell the athletes, like, once you start fixing your weaknesses, you're going to be much better. You're going to be able to do certain things you weren't able to do before.
Right.
And you could tell when they start really getting really, really good and start learning how to master those skill sets. So, so I ended up getting my master's, and I was playing arena football. Had a decent career, played 4 years arena football, and then I started my regular work life. So primarily I'm a health and wellness consultant as well. So I was a health and wellness consultant with Cigna and developing health and wellness strategies. I got the opportunity to work with like Home Depot. I created wellness strategies for Disney. I created Cigna's first YouTube video database, like a whole bunch of different exercise videos and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
So that's how I kind of got to where I am now, and now I like to be able to apply what I've learned all those years and tell the athletes. So yeah, it's kind of a long story, but
Isn't it funny how the universe just drops people in your life when you need it? Like you met that agent, which by the way, thanks to him, we got James Harrison in New England for a while. So, but no, just the fact that you hear somebody tell you just that basic sentence, you were training in the wrong direction. And it's just that one person drops in your life and gives you that message, and then now you're here. You're helping.
Oh yeah, true.
You're helping kids.
From that,
yeah.
From not from not training in the wrong direction. So it's I don't know. I'm more, about that. How like the universe just drops people in your life when you need them, or when you don't even know that you need them. They're here. They give you one little sentence, and now
it changes the trajectory of my life.
You're building an empire.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And I'm so thankful that just for him even saying that and actually learning that you could do that, because like you said, it was a blessing for him to be there and come across, and everything changed after that. So.
And probably like I don't know, maybe from my point of view, but if somebody told me that you were training in the wrong direction and you could have made it to this point, probably it'd have been like a punch in the gut, like like what have I done? And then, but no, that's great that it inspired you, and like you said, change your trajectory, and now you're helping, you're paying it forward, man. That's unbelievable. Super happy for you.
Thanks.
I have actually a two-sided question for you. The first part would be how does it feel even now looking back and saying, man, we started here. I don't know what kind of facility you had when you first started, but man, we went from here all the way to here. how does it feel, feeling that, thinking of those memories and that? And the second side of that question would be, aside from training athletically, how often do you find yourself being that mentor or that guide to kids to come in and to see you like, hey, you got this little time over here, let me, put you on game, or, or they come at you with questions, and you push them in the right direction.
Yeah. So to start with your first question, starting off, started with one player. It's funny too, because it was a hockey player. So like, I mean, a lot of times people think of next level, they wouldn't think of like a hockey player. That's the very first athlete we started off with. So, and like I said before, I'm mainly a health and wellness consultant. So I always usually just did next level, kind of like off the side of my desk. So to look at it where we started at back in like 2009, which is once again, it's one of the things that's way, 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 way back when we started, 2009. Was just like more of a hobby, just kind of do it offside of my desk to like now, we got the trainers and, we growing, doing team stuff and, developing, strategies that, even like sports medicine directors haven't seen before. To see that transition and all the, all the great athletes, all the accolades is, it's really humbling now thinking about it. Like, I'm glad I had the opportunity. I'm really glad and thankful for my clients for trusting me, because a lot of times, like, if I had somebody before with like a hamstring almost torn off the bone, and I told his dad, like, just get them to me twice a week, I'll be able to do it. Now, I can't say I knew for sure, but like, it's kind of a big risk. So like, I had to make sure that I actually deliver on what I say,
Right.
and I was able to. Like, he's one of the fastest kids on his team. Help his team, to whip a championship in baseball and in football. And like, he's a major part of that. All conference in baseball. So like, he's a catcher too. Yeah,
Man, that's gotta be tough with the busted hamstring to get rehabbed, because like when you got to jump up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your quad and hamstrings for
Yeah,
days.
He's a receiver DB for football, so
Yeah.
he definitely needed a speed, and to see that growth and to think about where we're going in the future, it's definitely exciting. And like I said, we're moving forward. I want to start working with more teams. So kind of to go along with what you were saying with the second part of the question, one thing that I like to do is I like to inform. I like to make videos and educate the athletes, because I feel like this therapist told me this one time. She's like, you never want to hold on to information, because the more you try to hold on to it, the less you can receive information, if your hands are always closed. So I always kept that in my mind. I was like, and that's kind of like a person I always kind of was anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of just confirmed it. So I always try to educate. And also, too, I learned a lot from learning from my athletes. So they may ask me a question, so I always tell them, no, let me know, like, if something's wrong or something. Like, give me feedback. Don't. It's not like practice. Like, even this is a side note. So like, a lot of times when I'm working with athletes, and I'll say, like, you tired? You thirsty? I'm like, no, I'm not thirsty. I'm not thirsty. Like, it's not a joke. You actually need water. I need you hydrated. I need you to recover. So like, breaking down those walls and those barriers, getting them more comfortable, with opening up about when they're tired, fatigued, or even when they didn't get enough sleep or not. So I really enjoy giving back and teaching and molding. I'm looking to do more of that, these upcoming years. And we were talking about interns and stuff too. So I have a couple former athletes that asked to be my intern. I was surprised about it. It's like, yeah. And actually, one of my trainers, he ended up going back for his master's in exercise science. So we're on the same level now.
Nice.
And I started training him when he's in the 8th grade. He's like literally my first speed camp. Worked with him from 8th grade all the way up to college. Then play a little bit of arena. Then he ended up going for his master's back in this field. And he's another person that kept pushing me from a standpoint, like, because he was curious. That's the big thing is I'm just curious about injuries and how they happen, and not necessarily injuries, how they happen, but how to get athletes better. What do they need? Like, what's all included? Like sleep, the diet, what's everything they need. So he was the one that gave me a lot of that question. He just have questions. I'd be like, man, I don't know. And then like I would just look it up and I'd find more information, and I'm like, all right, it's cool. So yes, I really like being able to help out and give back and actually get more athletes in this field, because one thing I say is, like, if you're an athlete and then like when sports is done, whatever that time may be, like to get in this field and be able to help and give back. Like any athlete can almost do that if they so choose to.
Yeah, because sometimes it's hard when you're not actually playing the game anymore.
Yeah,
So it's like I said, I love football. I love playing football. I love coaching football. But like at that time, the job that I had, I couldn't coach because I couldn't be at school by 2:30. So I got into officiating. Same thing. I mean, it's just one of those things that you always want to be involved and you want to do that. And sometimes it's hard to realize that your body's like, yeah, you can't do that anymore. You just, my wife is laughing at me because in my storage locker, I still have my softball cleats. And she goes, when was the last time you put these on? I'm like, when we played for like the championship in 2002. She goes, it's 2022. She goes, we can throw them out. I'm like, we ain't throwing them out. I'll play against.
I would say you never know. You never know.
That's it.
And it's like the week after you throw them away or something like that. Someone's like, hey,
say we got a co-ed team. We need somebody. I'll be like, and I'd say, yeah, I'm up, and I'd probably go out there and swing the bat, and probably, I don't know, it wouldn't be good. I'd probably like herniate 3 discs, dislocate a shoulder, break a toe. It'd be awful. But yeah, like I said, it's good to see like some, especially when you know people that love the game, when they come back and they still contribute, whether it's rehabbing or just coaching kids or officiating or because it's hard. And we talked about this a little bit before. Sometimes parents are the worst coaches and trainers on the planet. They will get something in their head and they will run and if you deviate from that, man, it's like, well, what's wrong with you? And you know, my cousin's brother is a physical therapist that worked on, you know, Jackie Chan, and he said that you need to do this, and so it's just no, it's awesome. And,
I can't really imagine. Like I have a lot of my hats off to a lot of coaches because they, oh man, like I be hearing them in the stands, like the fans in the stands, and like they just have their perspective. I remember one time I was on the sideline and somebody yelled at me. It's like, hey, they got my attention. I turned around. It was like, tell the coach to run this play. I'm like, no, I'm not telling them to do that. No, like there's so much involved in like just a random person telling you change your whole offense, change your defense. Right. You just can't just do that. And it's so crazy that fans think you can make these grandiose changes, so to speak. So
what's funny is of all the years that I officiated, I only threw out 2 coaches. Both of them were in Pee Wee games.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, I mean, just losing their mind. I'm like,
a Pee Wee game?
Yeah.
Wow.
Coaches, not parents. Coaches. Finally, I was like, you're gone. Only 2 in my entire years of officiating. Only 2 coaches, and they were both in Pee Wee games. One of them was from Wheeling Park. Oh, yeah. Like 3rd play in, I'm like, you're gone.
3rd play. Oh my goodness.
Gone. Like I can, like as an official, you got to have that deaf ear. But it was just like, no, you're gone. See ya.
How long did you officiate for?
It was like 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Enough to get through high school. I did some college games, but it was just life changes.
Okay. Yeah.
And it just. I got out of it. Same thing. I miss it. What's funny is like we were talking the other day. When we watch football. My wife always like I look at it from a different level. Like as a player and a coach, you look at it one level, and if you officiate, you kind of look at other things. But sometimes people that never played the game, just always watched it, know everything.
Yeah.
She's always like if I'll say that was a flag, I'll be like that was hands to the face. She's like, where? And there's a flag on the field and they call it. She was like, but you just get trained. Like I'll watch like nothing but the offensive lineman for this play. So,
all right. Before I put a cue to put a ribbon on this episode, I got one question. We got 49ers and Chiefs left. What's your prediction? So you can either brag about it or you can eat your words later when this episode comes out.
I know, right? This may not age well.
I've been doing a lot of eating my words this year.
we both did from the last podcast.
I remember that first graph we put up, that week 1 just destroyed it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Rodgers getting injured and everything after putting the Jets up.
Oh yes. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs.
Jeez, yeah, it's hard to go against them.
Yeah.
I've mentioned before that it's tough to tough to bet against the Chiefs, but man, I don't know how well they're going to block that 49ers line. I mean, and also I'm going off of just that first week, so it's kind of ridiculous for me to go off of that. But just one guy, Aiden Hutchinson, was just tearing the Chiefs line apart, and I just don't see, if they made those improvements in 19 weeks of ball. I'm sure they have, but that's one guy. And now they got to go up against Bosa. They got to go up against Hardgrave. They got to go up against Chase Young. And then when those guys are tired, hey, let's try to block Randy Gregory. We're not even talking about the second and third level of the defense. I'm just strictly going off of the front four. So
And even just like the last night's game, Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
I didn't think he could scramble like that.
Yeah.
He was, as soon as he
pulled
got
it
a
out.
second, he was gone. So, I mean, it was.
That's a difference maker too. Making them plays like that, they ain't count for.
Right.
Well, all I'm saying is I'm glad that my Joey Bosa 49ers jersey come in on Saturday. So, so I'm going the Chiefs, like I said, and I've been getting blown up on social media, going, wait a minute, you're a Patriots fan. You're right, and they didn't come anywhere near the playoffs. So I root for teams that have the most Ohio State players. So this. But again, and I've made this known before, I am not a Patrick Mahomes fan. I don't know. I think, and I've said this, and I know he just shook his head when I said it. But I think he's more lucky than he is good, and that's my own opinion. Like I said, you can take that and $4 and get a cup of coffee someplace. But I just, I'm pulling for the 49ers.
Any opinion that has people start to argue with you online, that's perfect for us. That's what we need.
Like, boo that man.
Him and Mahomes and Travis Kelce messing around with Justin Tucker yesterday kind of made me not want to.
Oh yeah.
Root for him. I was like, man, why are you the kicker really?
Yeah,
you're throwing the
when you're
kickers
when you're bullying the
yeah.
kicker. That's I don't know. I
The
guess,
kicker alone too, just the kicker down there.
Yeah, he's all by himself. Yeah, that's tough. But I guess he learned that from the Swifties. So you're wearing a Pirates hat. How do you feel about the Pirates this coming spring training and next year? Is it still following under the spend nutting, win nutting kind of?
Yeah, it's so funny. So like, I used to always watch the Pirates every single year, like all the time, and then like after all the losing, the one year I just couldn't watch them no more.
Right.
Like it's crazy. It was a year they actually made the playoffs, but I still follow up with them and it's keeping hoping they do better. But anytime they get some talent, it's gone, stripped away. But I feel like a Cleveland Browns fan in the sense that just hoping it actually turned around for them. They went to the playoffs this year, so I'm hoping like for us it can turn around at some point in time. But we'll see if this year. Like it's hard to have faith. Like I don't want to be insane and keep thinking the same thing, and it's not.
Right.
But eventually it's going to turn around. So maybe this year, I got to follow up some of the players and see. But hopefully it'll be better this year.
I'm a big Red Sox fan, and after this last season, and then like the spring event that they just had, like even the owners are like, yeah, we're gonna still keep decreasing the roster, and everybody and people like the fans were asking, they're like, well, why are you decreasing the roster? I mean, we one of the most expensive ballparks to go see in. And they're justified by saying, well, you get the Fenway experience.
That's good enough.
So what? That's like, I mean, that's the way I feel with PNC. Like, they're like, oh, it's a beautiful park. Yeah, but you don't want to go and see your team lose all the time.
Yeah.
It just, I mean.
Pay $40 for a beer.
Yeah, it's just, I don't
the
get
experience
it.
would be great. It'd be amazing if they won. Because, like, you don't want to go there and just watch your team get pummeled.
Right.
Like, you want to go there and be like, it gets you more into the game, makes you want to come back.
Right.
Like, it's a good experience. A part of having a good experience is them winning. Like, you get leaving out all happy and stuff like that. Like, not, oh, there they go again.
Yeah, the last, I've been to PNC Park, I think, twice in 3 years, and the one was not last year was the year before when the Red Sox played there,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the only reason I went. And I, like I said, I do root for the Pirates because they're close, but it's just I'll go to PNC if there's another team there that's
wanna
playing
see.
the Pirates, and that's terrible, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
In some cases, we trying to give away tickets too.
Oh yeah, and then, like Geek Seat or what, like
Yeah.
Tick Picks or anything like it. I think even for the Red Sox when they were, we got like we were right off. I don't know, maybe 10, 12 rows off first base, and I think my tickets were like $22 a piece.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah. So it was.
It was good for you though.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is we go and the Pirates actually win that one, and I'm like,
Oh.
so they Boston won 2 out of 3, and I went to the one game they lost. So that's.
I got one more question for you, Antonio, before we wrap up. As an athlete, you know, I think every athlete who's ever loved the game that they play, they get a feeling that they'll always have a fix. You know, they're always Jones and they have some kind of competitiveness in their life. Other than your business, other than your facility, you know, what do you do to get that fix?
Definitely flag football.
I got you.
Yeah. Cause play with Silk as well. So I really enjoy playing flag football. It's a way of keeping me competitive and getting back on the field and it forces me to stay sharp. Because the other thing is, people think that you're in like health and wellness field, like, oh, you must love working out. I'd be like, man, I actually hate working out. I actually don't like it at all. But I like the results.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's the thing too. When I play, like sometimes like if I get into like we'll start talking stuff and like cause I'm older, like a lot of kids I'm playing with are like half my age almost. So like I gotta keep up with them. So and they're not gonna be like. I'm not gonna take it easy on me. He's like, well, you're old. We'll take it easy on you. No, you still gotta play hard and everything. So that motivates me to go to the gym, to keep working out, to keep eating right, sleeping, all that stuff. So I really enjoy it.
And you play too?
Yeah.
I seen him when I first was playing. He made one of the craziest plays. I'm not sure if you remember it. So like, y'all, I remember you was running down and you literally like did some superhero stuff. You threw the ball behind your back like this. All the way across field, and Chris Goodnight caught it, and he took off.
Oh yeah.
I was just like watching. I'm like, oh my!
It's like NFL blitz kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that. He was running. He did it real smooth. He said, threw it. It went like right. It was a spiral all the way across. He just caught it and took off. And that's the one. That's the other thing too with flag football. It's different from like regular football. It's just like the game is different. Like the strategy is different.
It's a lot more mental IQ.
Yeah. It's quicker reactions, and it's different from regular football. So like sometimes you'll get athletes come over, or football players, and think they can just dominate, but you can't.
Yeah.
You really gotta learn the game again. It's another humbling experience because you just can't go out there and like me playing college football in arena. It's like I can do well wherever I go for the most part, but they were just so different. Like you had to really learn. And I'm still learning, to be honest. Like it's still, still definitely a challenge. So I like that. Like as far as a competitive edge, I really like. I really like to do that as well.
The crazy. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
The crazy thing is like the toughest level of football that I've played, as far as like flag wise goes, is co-ed. We play in this co-ed league, and like there's so many rules, and then you have the females involved too, and it's actually really hard to be good and sustain greatness in the co-ed football league.
I'm not even surprised by that because that one it lasted. It was, I think if they'd have done it right, it was like some kind of, it was tackle football, but the girls were wearing like lingerie or something.
Oh yeah,
it was really tacky. But those girls hit. Like that was no joke, man. I watch it for like literally, but I mean they would literally knock the hell out of each other, and that's the same way my daughter played basketball, high school, college, and the girls' game were always rougher. Mm-hmm. Like you don't mess with women in sports, man. They will jack you up.
The girls aren't. The funny story. So remember I was talking about a dislocated thing that actually happened to one of my teammates. The girl, she caught a pass. She got an interception. Dislocated her finger. I was like, oh. The other girl comes over and says, put it back in place. She's like, oh, it works. But the girls are really, really good. That's one thing, like, because like you gotta, in order for your team to do well, you gotta have good girls. You gotta have good girl receiver, good girl quarterbacks, and they got to know the game. Like
Yeah.
our quarterback is so funny. He will literally, like, he's an equal opportunist. I'll say that. Like, if you run the wrong route, he'll just yell. If you do this, drop the ball, he'll yell. And he does the exact same thing to the girl. Like, if they're supposed to run a choice route and they run the wrong route, he's yelling, I said run a dig. You ran a slant. You know, like, he be on them. And like, but they get it, though. And it's crazy to see them know football so well. And it's to play with, because I never, like, you know, growing up, you didn't play with girls and playing football.
Yeah.
And to see them where they're at now, there's some girls who make way better plays than some of the guys.
Oh, no doubt.
That's just,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't mean to sound sexist or anything, but I just never seen it before. So I'm always in like, oh,
Yeah.
she made a great play. And
Yeah.
let's know the game.
Yeah.
And it's great to see, especially like I said, I know I'm biased because after having a daughter and watching her grow up, like when she started out, she played little league because they didn't have softball. So she played with the boys. She did all that stuff. She
yeah.
made an all-star team. She was, and she got tagged with a pitch one time. I was coaching third base, and I didn't do I just stood there. She got up, she rubbed it, and she looked at her. Look at it. She goes, "You hit a girl. You happy about that?" And started running to first base. I'm like, but yeah, like I said, it's hard, but I love to see now where like you're getting to see like more of women's sports that you see on television and that they're involved in. Like now, I think even here around the Ohio Valley, now there's a number of schools that have female wrestling teams. So that's that's coming up too. So that's awesome. But if you ever get an over 50 flag football league, let me know and I'll come buy a ticket.
It's actually funny him saying like his quarterback being hard on even the females as well is because I play quarterback for my team, and if I make a mistake, the first people I hear from in the huddle is my females. They're that competitive.
Yeah.
They're coming back to the, what are you doing? Let's get this. Let's get that. And it's like, you can't even be mad. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, right.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So, well,
Want to put a wrap up on this episode?
Yeah.
Antonio, we really appreciate you coming in.
yeah, thank you for making the trip. It was really enjoyed talking to you. This is great.
thank you.
I wish you the best of luck, and if you need help, I'll go out to colleges with you and say, sign this guy up. Get this going with your college. It'll benefit everybody.
And so, what apps are you on for people to look you up? Any athletes or parents of athletes?
You said app, like social media?
Yeah, social
Oh,
media,
okay,
where
yeah.
they can look you
Because
up.
we actually use the app to schedule appointments and stuff too.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we're on MindBody for that, scheduling purposes, anything like that.
Okay.
But we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. TikTok is new, so yeah, I gotta get on all.
That's a new
platforms.
beast, yeah.
yeah, and soon YouTube as well.
And where's your main facility at?
Oh, Green Tree Sports Complex.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's good, especially like around here, tri-state area. You can get people from Ohio Valley up there. It's not a long drive. It's
No, I mean we actually had people come down from Cleveland before.
Oh, wow.
For injury recovery stuff. So
Good.
Actually the team. Yeah, if you ever heard of Ted Ginn, they're 14U, the national team. It's a Ted Ginn team, Ted Ginn Elite. They actually came from Ohio because one player had like a pull hamstring hip problem and then a rolled ankle, was able to fix it. They ended up winning a national championship this year down in Florida.
Nice.
Yeah, so they got the national championship under their belt for 14U. So
Nice.
Nice.
Well, congratulations on that.
thanks.
And next time we have you on, you'll be like, oh, yeah, I trained so-and-so that's in Major League Baseball, and this guy that's playing here, and this girl that's doing this. And so, yeah, best of luck to you, man. Thank you.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.